I've been playing the heck out of Atelier Yumia these past few days, and I'm ready to talk about my experience so far. The first thing I have to mention is the performance issues so many people are having with this title. I haven't had trouble running the game, but I have a higher end PC. If you're considering getting the game, see how the demo runs on your setup first, and maybe wait until patches have rolled out. I'm mentioning this first because who cares what the game is like if you can't even play it in the first place. I'll start with all the activities you can do on the map because this game puts exploration first. If you've played any other open world game, you know exactly how exploration plays out. The map looks packed with things to do, but ultimately, it's the same handful of activities repeated a bunch of times. You've got your main atelier, which has seen better days, and so far, there hasn't been a way to improve it, so I hope that'll unlock later. There's barely any room to decorate it as well, so I really only visit it when there's a quest marker there. There are other spots on the map to build up bases, which give you a lot more room to work with, but the designs of the buildings don't feel very magical. They're pretty basic, but maybe better designs will unlock as I progress, as I've already unlocked the log cabin, which is at least more interesting than the default wood and stone buildings. You unlock these new building areas by progressing the story and clearing out unique locations full of the mana that slowly depletes your energy if you walk through it. Purifying these areas also clears up the mana in the surrounding areas, so these are high priority before going crazy with exploring. I tried clearing one out before the story had progressed that far, and it doesn't let you, so it's not as open of an open world as I'd like. It is worth noting that you don't need to worry too much about your energy draining, because it doesn't take that long to reach the purification spots, and there are plenty of flowers scattered around that replenish your energy when you gather them. There are also campsites to build on, which I'll talk more about later, but a neat feature is that I haven't been able to camp on them. I think it's because there's not enough open space after decorating them, but I'm not sure. Regardless, it's an odd choice. Speaking of the camping feature, it's there. The biggest benefit it offers is the buffs from the meals you eat, but the buffs don't last that long, so I don't think they're worth it. Maybe future recipes will come with better buffs that last longer than a few minutes. The only other thing you can do while camping is talk to your teammates, but can someone tell me why they decided to make the campsite so cramped and make Yumia walk as fast as a snail? Navigating slowly around the furniture to talk to everybody is so painful. Another relaxing activity you can do is fishing. Would it really be a JRPG without fishing? This is probably the first game I've played that has a fishing minigame without a sound cue when you get a bite. The only indicator that you've got a bite is a light orb that appears above Yumia's head, which I didn't even notice the first couple of times I tried fishing because I'm so used to looking at the water. This game doesn't have dungeons, but the closest thing to that are the ruins you'll find scattered about. There are smaller ones and larger ones, but they all have the same look and flow to them. They're marked as cleared on the map once you open all the treasure chests, and there's special gatherable spots inside to loot. Even if you come across these spots, you can't gather them until you activate a pillar inside the ruins, which allows you to scan the entire area first. It's a weird mechanic, and it annoyed me a lot in one area, because whenever you step outside of the ruins, the previously scanned items disappear from the minimap. You have to step back inside and rescan to see them again. The ruins consist of crumbled buildings and open areas, so it's not always clear where the barrier between outside and inside is. It's easy to accidentally step outside and have to redo it. Puzzle-wise, you'll find shrines of prayer that give you upgrades related to the mana stamina system. You first have to find the shrine and then follow the red trails it creates to fix 2 to 3 pillars that activate it. You'll either have to find a nearby target to shoot, solve a puzzle, or just interact with them. It's always the same kind of puzzle, and it's very easy. The second region increases the number of tiles you need to rotate, but it's still easy. There are fast travel spots to unlock, and these small cubes all over the place to shoot with your wand gun. You'll also find a ton of ladders and zip lines to repair, and using the zip lines requires special gloves. For some reason, these gloves are single-use items. As far as gathering goes, you can't walk a couple of steps without finding something to pick up. But there are also hubs of gatherable items and enemy habitats in case you want a bunch of a particular item. Some caves you discover can be blocked off and require special ammo to access, which forces you to focus on the story again. But inside, you'll find an enemy to fight along with a couple of treasure chests. This game has plenty of chests to find. There are side quests, but not that many. There are a handful of normal quests, and then there are random quests that are repeatable and not that interesting. They're your typical fetch and kill quests. The regular side quests might have you doing the same thing, but sometimes they want you to add furniture to a special build area, which I'll talk more about in the building section. There are also character quests that play out little scenarios and let you get to know your team members better. You'll also come across random NPCs being chased by monsters, which will reward you with some materials after you save them. There are also these little guys roaming around the map, which reward you with rare materials when you talk to them, and this game really tries to gaslight you into thinking they're cute, but they're not cute. Other random map events include finding big crystals that trigger tougher enemy fights that reward you for clearing them, and finding mana spots that reward you with the particles you need to level up your recipes. There are settlements where you'll find NPCs to talk to, though they're not that interesting to talk to, and they all hate your guts. These areas so far have been around the survey base, which is the research team's headquarters, and where you will be reporting to every once in a while for some rewards related to all the exploring you'll be doing. There is a list of objectives related to combat, exploring, and building, and they're easy to complete if you're investigating every undiscovered spot you come across. You'll 100% these objectives well before 100%ing an entire region, so don't worry about having to do that if you're not interested. Overall, exploring will take up most of your time in this game, and though it does get repetitive, I am enjoying it. It really helps that each area has a different look and feel to it. I remember playing Sandland and getting so burnt out because not only were you doing the same activities again and again, but the environment was also the same everywhere you went. Two big things are holding exploration back in this game: the controls and the camera. Moving around does not feel fluid, and the camera is the most difficult enemy in this game. It's one of those games where you'll be running along and then stop suddenly because of a slight change in elevation or some random rock you barely even noticed. And while Yumia has a triple jump, it has a weird weight and takes some getting used to. I swear the camera has a mind of its own. It decides what it should focus on at any given time. You'll constantly wrestle with it, and it never moves as high vertically as you want. It also has seizures anytime you enter into enclosed spaces.
速いし疲れないし便利ではあるけどエナジー減っちゃうのかな。
There is a bike in this game. You don't unlock the bike until you reach the second region, so if you want to prioritize that, stick to the storyline up to that point. No clue how long that'll take minimum because I decided to complete as much of the first region as possible before moving on. I wouldn't worry about rushing to get it because, like all of the other controls in this game, the bike also feels janky. I don't see where you'd choose it over walking. Driving into enemies triggers battles, and when the battle ends, you're not back on your bike. So in areas where it's hard to avoid enemy encounters, you'd have to go into the radial menu constantly to resummon it. Also, I upgraded it to have the wall jump ability, but it doesn't work consistently. When it does work, it feels like I'm doing something I'm not supposed to, instead of feeling like an actual upgrade. The maps have so much verticality to them that I don't even know why they included a bike in the first place. I'll be avoiding it, just like the mount and Visions of Mana. You would think that synthesis would be the biggest mechanic in an Atelier game, but no, it's decorating. When they announced this feature in the gameplay preview, I thought it was a tacked-on addition to follow the cozy gaming trend. Turns out, this mechanic is a huge part of the game, and it's also the most flawed. You'll decorate when building new bases, finding new campsites, and during certain quests. Thankfully, there are pre-built options, so you don't have to wrestle with the controls to build. I did some building on my latest base, which I'll show off in a bit, and I can tell you it was painful to do very basic things. You build and decorate in this weird third-person mode, where you can never tell which room the camera focuses on, and everything clips through everything else. I cannot tell you how many times I've tried to place something on the wall I was facing, and it ended up being placed on the outside of the wall behind me, because that's where the camera decided to prioritize for some reason. The camera also frequently decides carpets go under the floor, not on them. In smaller quest areas, this movement is the most annoying because Yumia can't move outside the designated decorating space. So even if the furniture is in the middle of the space and could move further back, you can't do that because Yumia can't back up any further. I mentioned earlier that the camera has seizures in cramped spaces, and boy is this the worst inside of rooms. I tried decorating the inside of the small room that appears when you build a storehouse and quickly decided it was not worth the brain damage. I have to protect that last brain cell. An interesting feature they added is the comfort score, which goes up as you place furniture. Each area has different comfort score milestones that reward you with various buffs and blueprints for more furniture. However, each space has an asset limit, and decorating it naturally won't max out the comfort level before you reach this limit. The meta here is to spam couches to unlock all the blueprints you're missing and then remove them all to decorate the way you want, or just leave because decorating is so painful. Despite the horrendous system, I have been diligently decorating each new area I come across because I am an insane person. I wanted to have a way to visualize the progression I've made since you don't get to upgrade the main atelier. I go all out in each new area I unlock using all of the new furniture I've acquired. Without further ado, here is a tour of my latest creation. Okay, let's start this tour. So this took forever to make. You can't actually use this swing, and it has to attach to a ceiling. And as you can see, all of the ceilings are super high. So I wanted to make something that actually looked like you could use it, even though you can't, but you could, it looks like. The problem was they don't have pillars that are this tall. This is actually 2 pillars clipped into each other to make this, because here's the size of one, which is huge, and the other one was way too small and had the swing clipping through the floor. It looks so simple, but it took me 70 years. I think it turned out okay. And over here we have this little fishing area. So the only benefit of things clipping through each other... Oh my god, be quiet. They yap too much in this game, by the way. The only benefit is that you can do stuff like this. This flower vase is actually this pillar, but I clipped it through the pond, so it looks shorter. Here's where I do my synthesis. There's my energy. Over here, I did a little bridge over a pond. Cute. Okay, now get ready for seizures. This is the cutest item in the game so far. You have no idea how hard this was to put on this wall and not on the outside of this wall. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Okay. Oh, here's a really cool feature about couches, is that your feet clip through the floor, just like real life. You have a dressing room. Oh god. Shelves. What is steaming? Hello? It's broken. What? If a building area has a low comfort level, monsters can attack and destroy. Destroyed objects cannot be used or stored. This has never happened before. Also, how does this place have low comfort? 387 is not low. Well, okay. I didn't know that was a thing until just now. I guess we should go kill the monsters. These flower pots. Oh god. They're supposed to go outside of windows, but I don't know why. I love putting it on this dresser. I think it's cute. So yeah, this place took forever, because as you can see, I'm constantly fighting the camera. Placing stuff is abysmal, which I'm sure you've seen enough of. But you notice how you can never tell where the camera is. Like, where is the camera looking? Bonus points to anyone who can figure it out. Like, why can you see through every wall? It just, it doesn't make sense. Okay, let's figure this out. What do you know? What? Why'd she scan that man? Oh, I see. Okay. Who did it? Who broke my bench? It was you, you stupid beaver. Don't mind me, you just gotta teach this guy a lesson. Okay, I'm just gonna teleport back. Okay, so now we have to repair it too. Okay. Well, that's something I wish didn't exist. Anyway, thanks for coming to my house tour. Sorry it was busted as fuck. This looks so simple, but it took me literally probably an hour, if not longer. Okay, bye. You can opt to only decorate when absolutely necessary, but it is a feature that is heavily baked into the game, and as such, a lot of the rewards center around it. So I imagine you'd find completing the exploration objectives even worse if you don't care about a bulk of the rewards you're receiving. This game abandons the usual turn-based combat system for action-based combat, but seems afraid to take it all the way. Enemies are locked to the center of the screen while your characters circle around and wail on them. All the moves bleed together visually, and it's enough to button mash your way through most encounters. I've yet to unlock enough moves where I can choose which ones I want to equip. I'm unsure if that will ever be a feature because my character levels are already in the high 40s. Combat usually goes like this. See if the enemy is weak to close-up attacks or far-away ones, and spam whichever one until it breaks. Switch to items to deal the elemental damage the enemy is weak to, which triggers a friend attack if you have the same item equipped on multiple team members. Go back to close range and spam all those attacks while the enemy doesn't have a shield. While all of that is going on, dodge incoming attacks. The dodge windows are long, so it's very easy to do. After a successful dodge, switch to another member to do a precision dodge. You shred enemies fast, and the weaker ones won't live past the button spam in the first step. It looks more flashy, fast-paced, and complicated when watching it over what it feels like to play. Also, if you trigger a battle in a cramped space, you don't have access to your long-distance moves, which makes combat even more boring. Finally, we can talk about synthesis. Not that there's much to say. You can boil down the entire process to bigger circle equals bigger better. The big thing to focus on is the step before synthesizing, which is unlocking and leveling up crafting recipes. Upgrading recipes unlocks more cores, better quality, more quantity, and other features that help you create busted items. You have a lot of freedom with what ingredients you can use for each recipe and where you place them. The goal is to increase resonance and mana as much as possible. Each core has a separate resonance meter, but mana is shared across all cores. I'm not the person to consult for how to abuse the system, because so far I've mainly been using the auto mode to make the most basic version of each item just to progress. It is wild how the game lets you get away with that. I remember having to care when I played Atelier Sophie, because certain quests required items with certain traits or of a certain quality level, but that doesn't exist in this game. Combat is so easy that there's no need to worry about crafting the best gear you can. It's a weird choice, but alchemy takes a huge backseat in this game. As for the story, the developers said it would be more mature and have a darker tone to it than usual. While the characters have trauma and dark pasts, I'm not connecting with it that much. The execution isn't the greatest. It has a generic feeling, and the atmosphere and pacing are off. It's not hitting the way I was hoping it would. You could say that it's on par with the stories of other titles in the franchise, but it sounded like they were trying to go for more, and I think they're failing there so far. Also, it's so repetitive throughout the first region. I can't tell you how many times Yumia had to explain what mana is and how it works. It's not that complicated either, so I don't know why everyone seems so confused. The characters feel pretty bland so far as well. I haven't met everybody yet, so I judge this mostly based on Yumia and the first two party members. Rutger has the most interesting backstory so far, but his personality is still very one-note. I'm hoping they'll develop over time as everybody gets closer to one another, but I'm not counting on it. All the NPCs I've met are boring and forgettable. They're just kind of there because they have to be, I guess. I'm not that far in the story, so this is an area I feel the least qualified to judge right now. I hope it picks up as I continue to play. My overall feeling is that people should wait to get this game on sale, and I'm talking like half off. It's not anything special. If you've played an open world game where there are 5 different activities repeated a bazillion times around the map, you already know how this one plays. If the decorating aspect does not interest you at all, that is a huge portion of the game you're not going to be happy with. It's lacking polish, and the characters and story don't stand out at all. I am enjoying my time with it though, and there is a lot to explore. It's what I call a checklist game, which I have to be in a very specific mood for, and it's finding me at the right time. That is, a game where your progression is literally just checking things off of a list. As for how it stacks up against other games in the series, it loses its identity with this open world design. I can see how it makes it an easy entry point for people, but it's coming across as a generic JRPG open world game. It loses what makes Atelier, Atelier. I've only played the first Sophie and Ryza games, so it's not like I'm a veteran of the series or anything, but I can say those games had a lot more charm. Innovating can be fresh, but this feels like they stepped away from what made them unique and traded it in for being like everybody else. But they're not as good as executing that, so it ends up being a harsh comparison. It might be worth the money from an hours played standpoint. I won't know until I see how long it takes to complete everything, because I am going for full completion in this one. But so far, I think if you're on the fence about it, I would wait. It's not a game you should feel any kind of FOMO about. It's a mid-game that I'm enjoying enough to complete. I don't see myself ever returning to it again when I'm done, and I think it'll fade into the background over time. Some games stick with you, but this feels like a forgettable one. Well, I think I've out-yapped myself, and it's about time I get back to exploring. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more of me. I cover cozy games, JRPGs, and visual novels. With that out of the way, I hope you're living today in a way you won't regret, and I'll see you in the next one. Pook out.